All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to be conscious of time tonight for all of our faculty, our students, our guest speakers, our staff. We've got a lot of people that come together to make this, not just this orientation, but this program a success. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is being recorded right now. Will be loaded onto YouTube later. If you or if one of your friends is in the program as well, they want to check it out, that will be available. And Michael just put that in the chat. So my name's Steve Olson. I'm one of the program managers with the CWCT team. I'm at UNC Charlotte. But of course, you all should know by now, we're kind of a strange consortium of universities. And it's a very, very cool thing that we are federally funded through the National Centers of Academic Excellence. And we, as University of Tennessee, Chattanooga, Purdue Northwest, Ivy Tech, and UNC Charlotte, all collaboratively work together in this consortium to deliver this training. And that's really cool because we can grab instructors from different places in the country. Our staff works remotely, but we're all over the place in Carolina, Tennessee, Illinois, and Indiana. And we're excited to be able to bring this training to you. Personally, I spent 8 years in the Army. I know how the transition was. I know about 75 to 80% of our students come from a military background or from law enforcement. So you're not alone if you're out there and you're transitioning, you're active duty, or you're a vet and you're looking to either upskill in your current job, or you may be looking to transition into cybersecurity as a completely new field, which is really great too. There, just so you know, if you are worried about this program, and if you're already excited about it because your friend did it and they told you about it, that's awesome. But if you're a little concerned about, hey, is it going to be difficult? Is this right for me? That IT assessment was a little bit hard. We have all walks of life in this program. There are 500,000 open cybersecurity jobs in the United States alone, 500,000. I mean, this program exists because there is not a lack of people, but a lack of trained people to actually fill this workforce gap. So this is kind of an exciting thing in that sense because there's a massive amount of jobs, but this is a really cool program where we have all walks of life doing it. So we've got folks with a PhD, we've got folks that have a high school diploma and 2 years in the infantry and everything in between. And I think that's really cool. So this is a really great program. At some points, you're going to feel like you're drinking out of a water hose, to quote one of my colleagues, Rex, who's also program manager up in Indiana. You will feel like you're drinking out of a fire hose, and that's okay. This is an accelerated program where I don't want to use the word cram because this still takes 6 months to a year, but we are putting a lot of information into this so that we are setting you up for success, right? We're not taking your money like a normal academic program, and there's nothing wrong with that, but our measure of success is whether or not you're actually gaining the skills that you can take and apply that in the industry, whether you're going as an IT analyst, a cybersecurity analyst, you're going to work in penetration testing, who knows, or you're going to use these skills at your current job. We want you to be successful there, and we want you to pass your certification exams if you choose to take those. And we're confident that we've developed a program and we've got fantastic faculty you're going to hear from today to help you on that journey. My last little note, before I share the agenda, we work with a lot of different partners in this program. And especially folks that are helping in the IT sector with not just veterans, but we do work with a lot of veteran nonprofits and foundations. We have a lot of resources. We send out a newsletter. We as program managers can connect you with those resources if you want. I'm going to throw my LinkedIn in here. Feel free to reach out. We are an academic program, so we're going to give you the training, but there's a lot more to it in terms of resumes and building interview skills. And we have some partners that we can connect you with for all those little soft skills, if you will, beyond the hard skills we teach you in this program. So again, it's kind of multifaceted, but we try and do our best to be able to connect you with those resources. I'm passionate about that, and our team is. We're not just trying to fill this workforce gap. We also believe in protecting the nation's critical infrastructure. This is a very patriotic industry to be going into to many, and to others, it's a very, very excellent way to establish a good household for you and your family, because this is a sector with a lot of open jobs and pretty good pay. So with that being said, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Chrissy, do you mind throwing the agenda up real quick? I want to get done in less than 10 minutes so we can roll on. And again, welcome to all of you that are here. You are the March cohort. I'm super excited about that.
Ignore the date on there for Wednesday, January 12th.
Oh, it's all good. That's perfect. So after I'm done blabbing, I'm going to give it back over to Chrissy. She's going to talk through the courses, your certs, all your individual pathways. We'll go through some of the syllabi related stuff. And then we'll go in and you're going to meet all of our faculty tonight, which is really amazing. We're growing and we have even more faculty. It seems like every cohort, which is excellent news for our program as we continue to have thousands of applications. You're going to learn about my Ivy and Ivylearn. And I cannot stress this enough. This stuff is really important. It's a little nuanced. Especially if you haven't had experience with Canvas or some sort of like learning management system through school or something else. It's very straightforward, but Chrissy, oh my goodness, is the best at it. So she's going to give you a great overview. Please listen to that part, but we will have a recording of the Chrissy shows you how to do the stuff that you need to do later that you can watch. We're going to go through the tracks, a little bit from some of our PIs on what actually jobs are more closely aligned with each pathway. And then we've got a guest speaker, and Professor Rami is going to be talking a little bit about cybersecurity jobs in the government and working on that side of the ball. Then we're going to wrap up, and we're going to be conscious of everyone's time tonight. And I'm even done talking 2 minutes early, so we're on a good start. Again, I cannot stress this enough. Thank you so much for considering the CWCT program. Use me as a resource. Use the other program managers. We're here to help you. We want you to be successful. That's it. Enjoy this evening. Enjoy the program. Thanks, Chrissy.
As Steve mentioned, I am Chrissy Duncan. So you all have received many emails from me throughout your application process, your admission process, your registration process. So now you can put a face to a name. I am Chrissy Duncan. I am the program manager through the Ivy Tech Community College. But because everything is done in the Ivy Tech system, I play an additional role of being the ones that I process you through the Ivy Tech system. So what I am going to do in this little bit of time, let me start my timer so I know how much time I have. I am going to talk about general overview of the program. Even though all of this information is on our website, we want to make sure you guys are reminded of some of the stuff that happens in this program, what's covered, what's not, and just what you can expect from this program. So basic program overview for the CWCT program. Remember that there are 3 training paths that are offered. There's the artificial intelligence path, the digital forensics path, and the system administration path. When you were admitted, you each chose your preferred path of study, just one path of study. Included in this program, you are going to take 6 non-credit college level courses. And this PowerPoint will be included in the recording that Amber sends out later this week. So there are some links in here. You guys will get that stuff so that you have these links. So these are college level courses, but they are non-credit. These courses are going to be offered through live virtual lectures. So everything in this program is done virtually. We have participants from all over the United States. We even have some that are active duty overseas. So everybody, we have a lot of people from everywhere. So everything is virtual. Your lectures are going to be 6 hours per week, essentially 2 days a week for 3 hours each, is when the class times are meeting. For those who cannot participate and join live, because you are from all over the US and overseas, there are time zone differences. We have people who work shift work, who are first responders, law enforcement. So 1 week they may be able to come, 1 week they might not be able to, so on and so forth. All lectures are recorded for participants who cannot attend live, and you will have access to those within your Ivylearn class. And again, there are no in-person offerings for this program. Each session is going to be 8 weeks. So each participant will take 1 to 2 courses per session. As Steve mentioned, there's a lot of work with this. So some people may start off in 2 courses, realize it's too much, drop down to 1 course. Some may start in 1 course and then find out, hey, this is not a problem. I'll jump up to 2 courses next session. So there is that flexibility. We have never had anybody, nor have we even offered any more than 2 courses because of the time commitment that is this program. So it's 8 weeks instructional period, and then there's a 2-week break, and then the next session starts. So depending on how many courses you're taking each session, if you're passing them, so on and so forth, this could take you 3 sessions to 6 sessions. So anywhere from a half a year, 6 months to over a year, just depending on that, if you already have some of the certifications, those kinds of things. So each course that you take within your track, those 6 courses, may lead to an industry recognized certification, CompTIA A+, Cisco Cyber Ops, EC Council CEH, Certified Ethical Hacking, those types of things. Typically 5 of your 6 courses are going to lead to a certification. There is one track that all 6 lead to a certification. The grant will cover those testing fees for up to 3 certifications. When you pass a class, you will be given that information as well as a cost list, approximate cost list, so that you might decide, what do I want to use my 3, for which certifications do I want to use my 3 vouchers for? So you can choose which 3 courses you want to use your vouchers for. If you decide, for example, you're taking A+, I don't want to use my voucher, but I still want to get the A+ certification, you can then pay for it out of your own pocket. A lot of times there are student discounts available, or you can choose just not to take the A+ certification. That's going to be completely up to you. Again, that's an example. For this program, in order to move on in the program, you have to pass the classes. We don't technically require you to take the certifications. So passing those classes are going to be really important. Then at the end, once you pass all 6 of your courses, you will receive a certificate of completion from the 4 consortium universities, as well as the Centers of Academic Excellence in Cybersecurity Education, who's the one who kind of houses this grant. There could also be the opportunity for you to transfer some of this non-credit coursework into 4-credit coursework at the 4 institutions that are part of this consortium, which is Ivy Tech, Purdue Northwest, University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and University of Tennessee, Chattanooga. If you transfer to elsewhere outside of those 4 consortium schools, then it will be up to that institution whether this coursework would be crosswalked into anything at that institution. And then you may not have to take 6 courses. If you already have CompTIA A+, you're not going to have to take the A+ course as long as that certificate or certification is still active and not expired. So you may not have to take all 6 if you already have some of the certifications. Okay, so again, you are admitted under 1 track, and you must complete all 6 courses within the track to complete the program. This is not, I'm going to pick and choose which classes to take from all 3 tracks. There are 6 specific courses you have to take. So you can't pick and choose what you want to, what you don't want to. In order to move on, there are still prerequisites. You have to, move on. And then, as I mentioned prior, there could be waivers if you already have the associated certification for that class. This is a question that we always get, and we always get repeatedly. So please listen when I say this, because it will get asked again in the chat. I can guarantee it. You might be able to take courses outside of your track if there is room available once all those who need that class have registered. So for example, CEH is a big one, Certified Ethical Hacking. That's required for the system administration track. Once all those system admin students have registered for it, if there is space available, we will make that available to those within digital forensics and artificial intelligence, as long as you've met the prerequisites. We've got to make sure those who need the class to finish their program have taken it first and have the opportunity to take it first. So possibly you could take additional courses, but that's always going to depend if there's room, and we can never guarantee there's going to be room. Class participation is expected. This is a key. Even though attendance at the live lectures is not necessarily required, because you can watch the recordings, you do have to still make sure you're submitting the assignments by the due dates. You're still going to have due dates every week that you need to submit your assignments, quizzes, labs, homework. You need to make sure you're submitting that coursework every week. You could be removed if you are not submitting coursework every week. You could be removed from the course if you are not submitting that weekly work. You could be dropped for non-participation. So you need to make certain that you're either attending the live Zoom lectures or watching the recordings. And most importantly, you need to make sure you're submitting your assignments. This has been mentioned a couple times, the time commitment for this program. You're going to have 6 hours of coursework. Then you could have another potential 12 hours or more a week of homework for each course you take. So if you're in one course, you've got 6 hours for the coursework, as well as the 12 hours for the homework. That's 18 hours. So if you are in 2 classes, you're looking at 36 hours of commitment a week. That's almost a full-time job. So you really need to evaluate, do you work full-time? Do you have children? What else is going on in your life? It is okay if you just take one class. It may take you a little bit longer, but we want to make sure you are successful in completing this program. So it's really important that you don't overcommit yourself. If you've registered for 2 classes and now you've heard this and you're like, I don't know about this, I want to drop down to 1, just email Amber, myself, or your program manager. More than likely, Amber, I'd be the one dropping you, so just email me that you want to drop a course, and I'll get you dropped just down to 1 course. So it happens all the time. And then it also happens where students start in 2 courses, they think they can handle it, they get going, and they decide to drop one of them. That is fine too. You get 3 attempts to complete a course. So, if you drop it, you've got 2 more tries at it. This is a reminder of the upcoming training schedule. So this upcoming session that you all have been admitted to is regular session for the March session. So you can kind of see these are each 8 weeks with that 2-week break in between. So depending on how many courses you take at a time, it could take you 3 sessions to finish, maybe even possibly 4, because we are tending to the last 2 classes in your track of study. Right now, we're only offering those every other session. That may change by the time you guys get there. It all just depends. So you can find this training schedule on our website. And again, this will be sent to you, so you can click on the link that's up in the upper right-hand corner to see that. So a lot of people ask, is this program really free? Yes, we cover up to 3 certifications, and this is what is covered, the costs that are covered and the support that you get as a part of this program. So first, the part that was covered were your assessments that you took, your English, math, and your IT assessments. Those were all covered as a part of this, this program. We pay, again, for test fees of up to 3 certifications. Now, if there are additional proctoring fees or other fees charged by the testing sites themselves, those would be the responsibility of the participant. We will cover the actual test fees. The cost covers the courses you take, the live virtual faculty instruction with the option for recorded lectures. If you are able to eventually take extra courses, that coursework, the actual coursework, will also be covered. Just the certification, if you're interested in the certification and you've already used your 3 covered vouchers, then you may have to pay for those additional certifications out of your pocket, but the actual coursework itself would be covered if you took extra classes. We do have cybersecurity support analysts. These cybersecurity support analysts can provide tutoring for your classes. They can provide technical support for your classes. They can provide support for virtual machine development and maintenance. So they're there to kind of support that technical aspect of it. Matthew, Michael, somebody, can you stick the email address for the CWTC support in the chat for us? I need to make sure I put it in here next time, but if one of you can put that email address in there for our participants, I would appreciate it. Thank you, Matthew. And then finally, this covers online books and materials. Now, most of your materials are going to be online. If there is even a possibility of having a hard copy, then you would be responsible for paying for that on your own. A lot of these don't even have a hard copy. It's all virtual. So that is all covered under this. So a lot of things are covered. So really the only thing you would be responsible for is anything above those 3 certifications, and if there are the extra tests, that kind extra fees at the testing center. This would have been included in all of your, oh, and Matthew made a correction to the CWCT support email address in the chat, so make sure you get that. This would have been included in your registration emails. We do have self-preparation that you can do before the session starts on March 28th. It is on our website under the training schedule tab. Again, this will be sent so you can actually click on the link here. If you are taking Linux, it is going to be highly recommended that you do the Linux Unhatched course, which is under that for both the cloud system admin and forensics learning path. It's under that. So you would just go in here and have access to some of these self-preparation materials. And then we are going to have somebody, this is on the agenda to speak about these more specifically, the artificial intelligence track, the digital forensics track, and the system administration track. So I'm not going to go into details on those because they are going to be talked about. Just, I guess, a quick reminder, you're admitted under 1, so you complete 1. And then again, if space remains in courses outside of your chosen track, you might be able to take them if there is room available. So again, this will be sent. Hold on, my timer's going off because I'm out of time. So this will be sent, and then let me go ahead and just check for questions really quick, and then we'll okay, yeah. Otebek, Debbie answered this. You can use your Ivy Tech email address to register for certifications if there's a student discount. The few people who have done this, they then need to provide some kind of enrollment verification. You will have access to an unofficial Ivy Tech transcript through your My Ivy account, and you would be able to provide that as proof that you are in an educational institution. And then there is, I believe, a Discord channel. Yes, I don't know it offhand, but I believe, Steve Olson, do you have that information? Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, am I?
Oh, now you're good.
Oh, sorry. No, so we don't have an official one yet. Okay. It's been brought up before. If I was going back to the our LinkedIn page, there was 2 different Discords a few students were working in. I actually really appreciate the question because we found out that some students were using Discord to work together, and one of our guest speakers in our last orientation kind of encouraged it as well. But I appreciate that because I meant to actually set one up for the future. But I appreciate you bringing that up. A Discord, it would be a really great way for our students to communicate.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just add to that. There is one that many of the military students have used, and I can put a link to that one once I figure out how to send it from my phone.
Yeah,
Thanks, Matthew.
Please do.
Sure.
Thanks, Matthew.
So we'll work on, once we have more information on that, we can work on getting it out to you. Alma had a great question. The A+ exam is 2 exams. You only use up 1 CWCT voucher. You will have a voucher for each part of the exam, but it only counts as 1 of your 3 because it's 1 certification. So if you do the A+ exam, even though there's 2 parts, you'll get a voucher for each part. It will only count as 1 of your 3 certification vouchers. So great question, Alma. Okay, so I think that's it for me. Let me stop sharing my screen. And I believe next would be Matthew and Edwina just talking about participation, some of the resources, the graduate assistants that are available, things like that. So Matthew, are you ready?
Sure, I'm ready. And I can share my screen, yes? Okay. So I'll come back to that in a moment. All right, good. All right, so my name is Matthew Cloud. I am a full professor at Holy Cross College, but I also work part-time with Ivy Tech. I've been with Ivy Tech in various ways for 7 years. My role is to help oversee support for both the faculty and for the students with a team. So I have Edwina Aponte, who I don't believe is in here, at least I didn't see her in here earlier. I know she's working on some issues right now for students, even just as the semester ended or our term ended. But she also has 2 to 3, it varies. In fact, she's looking to hire someone right now, support analysts to help her with any issues that you might have with virtual labs or other technical resources when it comes to cybersecurity labs. Now, when you talk about, like, can I log into the system? That's a general Ivy Tech help desk kind of issue. We can't really help with that. But these are a dedicated team to supporting you with any kind of educational questions that you might have for the lab content. And things change, things work and then they don't work the next time because that's just the nature of this business. And so one of the things that I wanted to show you with that, so that you don't really have to have anything other than a device with a browser, we do use a system called NetLab, and that's where they spend a lot of their time in support. Like in here, I've gone into a Red Hat Academy login. I can log into this one in here if I remember what the password is. I don't know that I do. Nope, didn't like that one. Nope, maybe you did. Anyways, so the idea here is that you can log into these virtual systems. You can undock it, move it around. This is one for working with Red Hat. If you're in the Linux Red Hat System Admin course, this is one of the interfaces that you'll be working with through a system called NEG NetLab, or NetLab 2 is the site for these Linux courses and most of our cybersecurity courses. Not to confuse you, but to try to reduce how much gets used on one particular server versus another. We also have one that's just called netlab.ivtech.edu, and that will be for your A+ course if you're using, if you're taking the A+ course, but you've not taking that certification already. So we have those 2 main services for your labs. There are some other web-based labs that we use, like in the AI course, we use AWS, as well as Oracle Cloud Services. And we have some additional services that you can sign up through the website to help you get there. But this is really simple to make these services for when you need it. You just enter, say I want a new lab reservation. You would say schedule a lab for a student. I'm just going to do it here for an instructor. You pick what you want. So if you were doing a cyber ops course, when you get to that level, you come in here, pick your cyber ops class, which lab you want to run. Maybe it's one on Windows Task Manager. And you select the time. I'm going to do a 49 minutes, but you can go up to 3 hours on it. Some of them we're allowing more time, depends upon the particular lab. It will schedule it. And then any labs that you have, you can come back in here and run it. Your instructor can see what you're doing. If you're working with one of the support technicians, they can see what you're doing through here as well, live when you're in it. The bad part about it is that it's all gone. That's by intent, because it is for cybersecurity to create a sandbox. So whatever you do, you don't have to worry about it messing up. You can just restart it if you need. So in this case, we've got a Windows client, but I could look here under the content and see what's in the lab. The NetLab stuff with Red Hat is actually running that I was showing just a minute ago before this one, we're looking at some of that stuff being done right through the Red Hat Academy. Through them, that's starting to transition to be supported directly by Red Hat as opposed to in the NDG systems, but we're going to evaluate that over the next 2 weeks. So that might be a different site, but we'll see how that goes and how it went this last term. But you have the instructions that are listed here with most of the classes. You can see the status. This one only has one Windows client, but some of them might have 3 or 4 clients, and you can actually use this as an environment to create your different scenarios to attack and defend, right? It has nothing to do with what you could use. A Mac is fine. You could do it on a Google Chrome device. I wouldn't recommend it on a phone, but technically you could even do it on a phone. It just needs HTML5 capability. So that's it, all right? Any questions on support or labs or technical resources that you might need?
Not support, but this came up and I don't want it to get buried. Somebody said the A+ test should change to the new course of study sometime in later June. Are we teaching to the new course or the older one?
So we haven't changed any course materials. Those, when they change the different materials out from one term to another, there is a lag in that. So we continue teaching it out until it's done. I'd have to look at what the A+ end date is on that. I don't recall off the top of my head, but I can look that up. So that's one of the things. We list the certifications in there. They constantly change, not just that every 3 years they're renewed and there's a new version of the certification, but they tend to change at times that are not opportune for academics. So this program we have here, we're a little bit more flexible on all that. But does anybody know any of the faculty that are in here right now when A+, when the current exam retires? You can look that up with CompTIA, but I tell you what, I don't want to hold this up for our discussions. So I will look it up myself and text that back in here in the chat. But at this point, we need to start introducing the other faculty, right?
Yeah, thanks so much, Matthew.
Great, thank you.
Faculty, if you are here, I will announce your name and the course that you'll be teaching. And if you wouldn't mind just saying a little introduction about yourself and maybe talking about your class a little bit. I know participants are always curious how the classes are going to run. So if you wouldn't mind, we'll start with A+. If Alma, if you don't mind going first.
Hi, my name is Alma Scott, and I'm teaching the A+ class. I just finished my first class, and it was wonderful. As many folks have already said, there's just a wide variety of individuals coming together, different backgrounds, different experience, and it was a very, very good class, and I'm looking forward to the next one. I am a full-time faculty at Ivy Tech at the Valparaiso campus.
Thank you so much, Alma. Valerie, would you like to go next about A+ in your class on Tuesday and Thursday nights?
Sure. I'm Valerie Goulet, and I'm teaching your IT Essentials A+ class. I've taught it now 3 or 4 times for the program. And I must admit, if I could do this full time and nothing else, I would be doing it. I love the group of students that are coming through our programs. The military and criminal justice, they're not afraid to talk, and I love it. So I'm just going to say to you, the more you participate in class, the more you're going to get out of it. And we have some very good conversations and activities. I try to make my class very hands-on, which sometimes is just going over a quiz verbally to see what we know and what we don't know and what we need to dig into, or hitting some labs, actual NDG labs together on the screen and taking turns going through that. So I am a full-time professor at Ivy Tech as well at the South Bend Elkhart campus. And I look forward to seeing you.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Valerie. Connie, I think I saw you sneak in. Would you mind introducing yourself?
Sure, no problem. My name is Constance Chastain. I teach primarily for the Columbus Ivy Tech campus. I have taught for Ivy Tech for 5 years now. This will be my 4th cohort that I'm teaching coming up here in, well, in March, I guess, when it begins. And one thing I will say to the students is stay on top of your work. It's easy to get behind. We use 2 different interfaces. We use Canvas a little, and then most of our schoolwork is done in NetAcad, and so there can be some confusion with that. So just stay on top of it. If you can't be at the lectures, be sure to listen to the lectures so that you're clear and consistent on everything that's required to complete this course.
Awesome. Thanks so much for those tips, Constance. Really appreciate that. And then last we have Enrique, who's teaching our Saturday, Sunday section of A+. Enrique, are you still in here?
Yes, I'm still here.
Awesome.
Hello, everyone. My name is Enrique Catalan, and I basically teach for Lake County here in Ivy Tech. So I've been teaching for 4 years already. I do teach full time in the Area Career Center in Hammond. So one of my favorite classes is A+, and I've been teaching it for almost 6 years now. And like everyone said, please just make sure you pay attention to the lesson, make sure you participate, and make sure you hit those labs, because those hands-on will actually give you more a broad view of your knowledge, what you're missing, what you need to learn more, or actually get into it, you know. So yes, I'm excited to teach on the weekends. My weekends are gonna be gone, but I'm gonna be here for you guys, and I'm happy to be here for you. All right.
Wonderful. Welcome. We're excited to have you joining the CWCT team. We're going to jump to Linux now. So our Linux instructors, let's start with Herman, Tuesday and Thursday night Linux teacher. I know I saw him pop in.
Yeah, you saw me pop in. And I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get everything going.
There he is.
There we go. Hi, Herman Kramer, Red Hat System Administration. And I don't know, when it comes to Linux, it's practice, practice, practice. So you have to, you know, do the labs, do labs, do the labs. That's the short story.
We like the short story. Thank you, Herman. And then we've got 2 Bills teaching Linux this session. Let's start with Bill Warden, our Saturday, Sunday instructor. Oh, Bill, are you in? All right, maybe not. How about the other Bill, Bill McGilligary? Did I say your last name right, Bill?
Yeah, it's a tough one. Here, I'll come on camera here real quick.
And Bill's teaching our Monday, Wednesday night section.
Oh, thanks, Amber. And so yeah, Bill McLargy. So I've covered the Linux program, I think, for 3 sessions now. Worked closely with Bill and team to basically we got the course updated and stuff. So everything's going with that. To echo what Herman said, it is lab heavy. So that is what the certification exam revolves around. They don't care about multiple choice. They don't care about drop down boxes. They care about labs and doing the work. So focus on that. So yeah, so look forward to seeing you all there, and we'll see everyone soon.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Bill. Let's go ahead. Let's jump to Python. Did Chris join us tonight, our lone Python instructor? All right, I don't see Chris. How about CyberOps? I know I saw Spiros pop in.
Yep, I'm here.
Awesome. Spiros is teaching Tuesday and Thursday evenings.
CyberOps. Good evening, everybody. My name is Spiros Bamiatsis, and I am an adjunct professor of cybersecurity with Ivy Tech, Calumet Campus. I'm also assistant chair and advisory for cybersecurity. And besides cybersecurity, of course, I'm teaching, a series of other courses related to cybersecurity. One of them, which is also, I have a great deal of interest in that, is the Internet Protocol Analysis. Now, in this class, it is first step, if you wish, for a career in cybersecurity, whoever is interested in working in a security operations center, in a SOC center. That will be an extremely good step for you to have something under your belt before you walk into that. Now, what we're going to do in the class. First of all, I want to tell you a little bit my philosophy about not only this class, but also about, the profession. I'm getting more and more excited about teaching this class. This is about the third time that I'll be teaching this class. And it is a very simple reason. The first reason is you. Teaching is a mission. In my opinion, at least, teaching is the holy grail of all the professions. And it's also a very simple reason for that. Because if I can give an opportunity to somebody through this knowledge to get a better job, or to qualify for one that will be give them some advances, that will be my Super Bowl. The second is that this profession goes beyond just making a living. This profession has to do with the safety and security of this country and the entire way of living. Another thing too that I want to add to that is that we're talking about security in this country. I'm not talking just about the military. I'm talking about everything that we see and touch. I'm talking about the electrical grid. I'm talking about the banking sector. I'm talking about the infrastructure. I'm talking about the water dams. I'm talking about everything that has to do with the safety and security in this country. And you will be part of that. You will be the very integral part of continuing our way of life and our democracy. By watching what's happening around the world right now, you're going to see how important and how detrimental is for the future of this country and democracy to have something like cybersecurity under your belt. The third reason that I'm very excited about this is the answer to the question, who is responsible for the security of the internet? And the answer is very simple, it's you, me, and us. By being exposed to this class, you will be able not only to offer yourself an excellent opportunity for a bright future, but maybe you'll be able to save the computer of your loved one, of your children, of your neighbor, and by extension into the whole network. Okay. Now, what else we'll be doing in this class? We'll be going a little bit more than what the curriculum says. And that is because of my research that I'll be doing in cyber warfare. So I'll be touching in this, I'll be touching a little bit into how we extend the cybersecurity into what is called the fifth domain of war, and that is the cyberspace. Also, we'll be doing case studies that they will be over and above of what the curriculum have. And more importantly, we're going to have a touch-on. Since the very first day in the class, we'll be having touch-on, and you'll be part of how to do these labs. I can't wait really to start the class. It will be a time of my life, and from the bottom of my heart, I hope it will be the best time you ever had in education. Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Spiros. Our other two cyber ops instructors weren't able to join us tonight. So if you have Lance or you have Joe, just know that they weren't able to join us, but hopefully you got some pearls of wisdom from Spiros there and are just as excited to jump into that class. Moving on to Security Plus, Alex Brown will be teaching our Tuesday and Thursday night class. And Alex was here earlier.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Awesome, Alex. You want to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Alex Brown, and actually this will be my first time teaching with this program. I've come to really enjoy teaching. All right. Sorry.
That's okay.
I'm a little tongue-tied and nervous.
Yeah. So with Security Plus, are you lab heavy, or like how do you usually teach that course?
I think it'll be a fair balance of lectures and of course hands-on labs. I mean, one thing I really want to throw out there is any confusions, any issues with anything, please ask. The only stupid question is one not asked.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Alex. For those of you who have Monday, Wednesday night security, plus your instructor, Jeffrey, wasn't able to join us, but hopefully you got some good tips from Alex. John, would you mind introducing yourself for the Computer Hacking Forensic Investigator course?
Sure. Hi, my name's John Lawrence. I've now been teaching the CHFI, our Computer Hacking Forensics Investigator course. This will, I think, be the third or fourth term that we've had it now. I teach digital forensics for Ivy Tech. I will be teaching some cybersecurity classes for Calumet College, St. Joe's, also part of Ivy Tech. And my main gig is intelligence analyst and digital forensics analyst for the Munster Police Department.
Thank you so much, John. And you're going to be doing a repeat performance in a little bit as well, talking about the digital forensics track. So thank you so much for doing that. Sunila, do you want to try again? Let's see if your audio is working. Oh, maybe not. Okay, we'll come back to her a little bit later. So next up, we've got Chrissy, who's going to be teaching us about all things Ivylearn, my Ivy account, Zoom access, all that great stuff. So I'm going to turn it over to Chrissy.
Great, thanks, Amber. Let me pull up my. Okay, all right. So let me share my screen here really quick before I. All right, so tonight I am going to discuss two big pieces of technology you'll be using as a participant in this program. You've actually already used both of these pieces when you went through the application process to access your assessments, but I'm going to discuss more closely how they relate to your participation in the courses. While this program is made up of the consortium of 4 universities, the Ivy Tech system is what you'll be using to go into to do your courses. You're going to be using the Ivylearn course management system. So I wanted to talk to you about My Ivy, which is your student portal, as well as Ivylearn, which is how you're going to access your courses for your virtual lectures, coursework syllabus. So I'm going to talk about the difference between those two. Here at Ivy Tech, we tend to put Ivy in front of everything. So it can be real confusing for some students at first. So there are several different ways that you can get to My Ivy and Ivylearn. So I'm going to kind of talk about those first. So again, My Ivy is your student portal, where Ivylearn is how you'll actually be doing the classes. You can get to both of them through the main Ivy Tech website, which is just ivytech.edu. You can see at the top here that there's a link or a tab for My Ivy, and there's a link for Ivylearn. You can also just go directly to My Ivy, and it's just going to be myivy.ivytech.edu. I would just go ahead, no matter how you get to it, bookmark it, because this is My Ivy is how you will check your Ivy Tech email. This is how you can access Ivylearn. This is how you can get to a lot of the student things by going into My Ivy. So if you go into your My Ivy account, you're going to log in. Remember that you're always going to use your Ivy Tech email address. I'm going to ask you for the email address. You do not want to use your personal email address, or you're going to get an error message. But you're going to log in, and it's not going to ask me for mine because I have, I believe I have my information saved. Maybe not. Oh, it's going to be slow. There it goes. So here is your My Ivy account. Yours will look slightly different than mine as far as which links are displayed, because you will have a student view where I have a staff view. So it's going to look slightly different in the specific links, but the overall makeup of it is going to be very similar, and the concepts I'm about to discuss will be the same. So there are two big pieces you will want to be familiar with in My Ivy for this program. A lot of these links might not even work for you because this is a non-credit program. For example, if you go into financial aid, not going to apply. We don't need financial aid for this program. There's going to be a link that might say like a student schedule, not going to apply. The student schedules do not have non-credit classes in them, which is why you would have been sent a registration confirmation email once we processed your registration, because you won't be able to get that in your My Ivy. So some of these links, if you go into it, it just might not work since these are non-credit classes. But the two big pieces that you really have to know is how to look at your Ivy Tech email and how to get into your Ivylearn. Both of these should be listed in your quick link, your student email as well as Ivylearn. You will not see them in mine. Well, you see Ivylearn in mine, but the student email, you will see in yours, but you're not going to see in mine because student email and staff email are work differently. But you should have a quick link that says student email in your quick links. You need to make sure you are checking your Ivy Tech email on a regular basis. Because of student privacy laws and regulations, it's called FERPA, everything that you are doing with this program should be done through your Ivy Tech email address. We need to make sure it's you that's contacting us about dropping classes. We need to make sure it's you that are contacting us about things going wrong. We need to make sure it's you when we're contacting you about issues in your class. So please make sure you are checking your Ivy Tech email on a regular basis. If you do not see student email within your quick links, you could add them to your favorites by searching for them. So you can either search up here in the search bar in the upper left, or if you go to quick links and go to see all, you can search for it here. And again, it's just called student email. And there will be a little heart that you can click on to add it to your favorites. So make sure you add those to your favorites, and then it should come up here under my favorites if it's not under your quick links. So again, you need to be checking your Ivy Tech email address, and this is usually how we will send our emails out to you. Now, one thing to remember about your Ivy Tech email address, the student Ivy Tech email is run through Gmail. So sometimes what happens is if you have a personal Gmail account where you have your password saved to your computer, when you click on the student email link, it may take you to your personal Gmail account because that's what you have saved, rather than logging you into your Ivy Tech email. So if this happens, you'll either need to log out of your personal Gmail account and then log back in using your Ivy Tech email information. Or what I personally recommend is adding an account to your Gmail to easily access both your personal and your student emails. You can easily Google add an account to Gmail. And it'll tell you how you can do that. And then essentially what happens is you could just easily flip back and forth between those two without signing out. So just Google add an account to Gmail and it should come up on how to do that. Again, you'll use your Ivy Tech email address as the username email portion. So that's the Ivy Tech email. So now the big piece that I know you all have been waiting for is how do you actually complete your classes? How do you log on to your class? How do you access the homework? How do you access the lecture? All of those good kinds of things. So that will be in Ivylearn. Again, you can either get to Ivylearn through the main Ivy Tech website up here in the upper right, or it's just ivylearn.ivytech.edu is how you can get to it. So this is Ivylearn. So again, you can click on it. You may be asked to log in. I wasn't because I have my information saved, but again, it's your Ivy Tech information. So now when you notice, when you go into Ivylearn, one thing I do want to point out, since I just talked about Ivy Tech email and your student email, you will notice an inbox here in the left menu bar. Okay, this is not the same thing as your Ivy Tech email. This particular inbox is associated with your particular class. So you can only send messages to your instructors that are associated with a certain class, possibly your classmates that are associated with that class. This is not where general emails will go. So I need to send you an email. It is not going to go into this inbox. If you send a message through this inbox to your instructor and they message you back, it will go into this. But if Amber sends you an email, if I send you an email, if your program manager sends you an email, it is not going to go into this inbox. That is going to go to your Ivy Tech email address. So you need to make sure you kind of know the difference between the two. Sometimes, students will say, I have never gotten a single email from anybody. That's because they're looking at this inbox in Ivylearn as opposed to their actual Gmail student email account. So again, this is how you can communicate directly with your instructor. Essentially, like if you go in, you can like select a course, whatever course it is that you're looking at doing. But essentially, and I don't think I have any courses in here, but you would essentially select a course, and then the list of like your instructor will come up, some of your classmates will come up, and you can send a message to them that way. You can also set it up in your in your account to have any emails that are sent to your inbox in here. You can have it also sent to your general Ivy Tech email account, but you've got to make sure you set that up. So, but your instructor should put in the class syllabus their preferred method of contact. So it may be utilizing this inbox, it may be an email, it may be a text message. So make sure when you're looking in your syllabus, you're really looking at how do they want to be contacted. If you're emailing them, use your Ivy Tech email address. If they see a personal email address, they may just skip right over it. They may not see it. So make sure you're using your Ivy Tech email address. Okay, so your courses is going to be here under your courses menu item. You may have to, now I've got a lot of stuff in here, but you should see your courses pop up. I'm going to talk about the timeline of this. If you do not see your courses listed here under courses, you may have to scroll all the way down and click here on all courses, and that will bring up all of the courses that should be in your account. Okay, so your courses will not even show up in the list until 48 hours before the first class day. So if you're in a Monday, Wednesday class that starts on March 28th, the course may not even pop up until Saturday, March 26th. If you're in a Tuesday, Thursday class that starts on the 29th, it will not even pop up until the 27th. If you're in a Saturday, Sunday class, your first day is on Saturday, April 2nd. That class may not even pop up until Thursday, March 31st, okay? So if you go in there right now and you're like, my classes aren't listed in here, yes, that is correct. They're not going to be listed until more than likely at least 48 hours before the first class session, okay? Now, even if it shows up, let's say you have a Monday course and you see it in there on Saturday, it may show up, if you look here, where this column says published and this says no, the class may not be published yet. It may not be active yet. That just means your instructor is working on getting it finalized. And even though it's being listed on there, you're not going to have access into the actual class until the instructor publishes it. So if you see that it's not published yet, just wait. It'll be published before the class, that first class session starts, okay? So that's the timeline of when your courses will appear, those kinds of things. So I am going to use one of my past courses as an example for you, specifically on how to look at the Zoom meetings. So let's go in here into my old Linux class. Okay, so this, first of all, this was a 4-credit class, but the class is going to be set up exactly the same. It's still going to have a syllabus. You're still going to have your modules, announcements, things like that. So the big key is, so you'll see a course menu here on the left. You need to make sure you're reading the course announcements, which would be here under announcements. As well as they're going to be displayed on the home page, and then you can go into the specific announcements as well. Okay. You'll want to carefully read the syllabus when it becomes available. You will find that under the syllabus link. That will have your instructor's information. It will have a lot of information that you'll need and you'll want to read carefully. The modules is how you will access different learning modules. You may do some of your coursework here, but more than likely you're going to be doing most of your coursework in those other programs that we've mentioned, the NetLab, the NetAcad, things like that. You will be told how to access those things, as well as additional username and passwords that will be created for you. You will be given all that information once your classes begin. That information will be coming from your instructors. So you may not necessarily have homework to do within Ivylearn itself, but if you do, it will be here under modules, as well as this will still tell you what should you be doing each week, even if it's directing you to some of those other programs. Okay. Now, your grades more than likely will not be tracked here within grades, may or may not, depends on the class. You may have grades within those additional programs, the NetAcad, NetLab, the grades for your particular labs may be posted in there. So you may just have to check one of those 2 places for your grades. So the big piece you do need to know for your virtual classes is, how do you access these live virtual lectures? They're going to be via Zoom, okay? And you need to know, how do I access the recorded lectures in case you cannot make it to the designated day and time of the course? So those, it's really, really easy. Once you're in the course, there's a link down here that says Zoom. All you do is click on that, okay? This should be then where the links are for your meetings. Now, I took this class several semesters ago, so I do not have any upcoming meetings listed because the class is over. When you take your class, you're going to simply click on Zoom, and this upcoming meeting should then list all of the upcoming meetings for your class. And there will be a link that you just have to click on it, and it will open up your Zoom for the course. Okay. I don't have anything under previous meetings because, again, I took this a while ago, but you should have, once a meeting has happened, that meeting should move from upcoming meetings to previous meetings. In that, there should also be like a place you can click to watch the recording, or you simply go here to cloud recordings. And even though this course was a while ago, you can see here where all of these courses were recorded in the cloud, that I could just click on it and watch the recording. So your upcoming meetings are all going to be all your upcoming meetings. Your previous meetings are ones that have already happened. And then you have a cloud recordings tab that you can go into whichever lecture you need to watch and watch that lecture. Okay. So it's that simple. All you do is click on Zoom and there's your information. Now, I believe all of the instructors are also going to be instructed to send you guys an email, again, to your Ivy Tech email with the Zoom information for that first class, because sometimes things happen that they can't get it in there. There's technical difficulties. It almost always seems on the first day of class, okay? So you should also get an email or if they don't list it here in the Zoom links, it might be in your syllabus, it might be in an announcement. So if the upcoming meetings is not listed here, look in some of those other places. Otebek has a question if you're allowed to download the recordings onto your devices. That I'm not sure of because they're cloud recordings. I don't know if it gives you the option to download them or not. I'm sure if it gives you that option, then yes, you can download it. But if it doesn't give you that option, then you might not be able to. So, and the other questions I'll get to here in a second. I just saw that one pop up really quick. So, so yeah, if on the first day there don't appear to be any upcoming meetings listed, check the announcements tab, check your syllabus, check your email, it might be there. If you're not seeing a Zoom link anywhere, okay, please reach out to your instructor. Again, their information should be in the syllabus. All the classes are occurring on an evening weeknight or during the weekends when the program managers are not in the office. So if you email me saying, I can't get into my class, I'm not going to be able to do anything about it until that next day, or if it's on a weekend, until that Monday. So reach out to your instructor if you cannot get on your class that first day. Again, their syllabus should at least be up that you can message them. And if you can't get on and can't seem to get it resolved, don't worry, because you can always just go in and watch the recorded lecture then. So it's not, super bad if you happen to miss that first lecture because of technical issues. But please keep that in mind that your program managers are not going to be in the office. We work typical business hours usually, okay? The last thing is Ivylearn is powered by a company called Canvas. There is a Canvas app that you can download onto your phone. You'll need your Ivy Tech information to set up the app. You can't really do much actual work through it, but it's great. It's got a calendar, so it have reminders when things are due. The announcements will come through, things like that. So it's really nice for those types of things to have that Canvas app for you to download. So let me just go back really quick and look at some of these questions that might be asked. So will it be possible to get an email with all the links from the chat? Yes. So, and Amber probably, yes, Amber already answered that with the YouTube video and the PowerPoint. The chat is also going to be sent to you guys, so you'll have that. So it is, and I think the rest are just
comments? I think they're just comments. Okay. Yep. Yeah. Right. So if they have any tech issues then with their Ivylearn or their My Ivy account, is it best just to call that the 1-800 number or the chat line?
It's really going to depend on what the specific issue is, honestly. So if it is more problems with, oh, hey, I don't see a Zoom link in here, my instructor hasn't set it up yet, then you're going to want to contact your instructor. If you are having problems actually getting into, you're locked out of your account, there is Ivy Tech has a support, let me put that number. It's 1-888 Ivylearn. Now, they do tend to have problems finding non-credit students in their system. So if you're going to call the Ivylearn because you're locked out of your account, make sure you have your Ivy Tech email address and C number when you call them, or else they might not be able to find you. It kind of just, it just depends on what it is. Yeah, I would say if it's, you're locked out of your account, the Ivylearn, but if it's the class isn't published and it starts, in 5 minutes, that's an instructor call, or email. I don't see any Zoom links posted. That's an instructor email. So yeah, it's really going to depend. And again, if you're not sure, then reach out to your program manager. We just might not be able to get to it until that next day. And then once we get it resolved, you can go in and watch the recording. All right.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chrissy. A few select instructors, professors talk about the 3 different tracks within our program. And if Farina is ready, I would like to introduce her and to let her talk about the AI track.
Good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. All right, sure. I'm going to share my screen for the links which basically Chrissy and Amber have been going through. So this is the link which you probably have already well studied before joining for this March session. I am going to specifically talk about the cybersecurity artificial intelligence track. The other 2 tracks are forensics track and system administration track. So for all 3 tracks, we have established a program where the students will be taking 6 courses. Out of those 6 courses, 3 courses are the core courses, right? So you are required to take this for any of all of the 3 tracks. You are required to take A+, Security+, and CyberOps, and the details of these courses are available under the tab of course description, which probably it's already covered by the instructor. So I'm not going to go into more detail about the core courses. So these are the 3 courses which everybody has to take in the program. Now, with respect to specifically the artificial intelligence, we have 3 advanced courses which the students are going to take once they are enrolled in track 3, which is the artificial intelligence track. So in that track, we have the first course the students are required to take is Python Essentials, because Python is the required course for the other 2 courses, which is the AI and machine learning and cybersecurity, and IoT and hardware security. So in Python Essentials, again, the students are going to learn about the basics of how to work using the IDE, write the code for Python, how to form structures, how to do function calls, and basic ability to write the code in Python, right? And this skill will be used by the other 2 advanced courses, which are machine learning and IoT class. So these are the 2 courses which the students can take after taking the Python class. So in the machine learning and IoT are advanced courses. They are both like all the other courses that you have seen, they are hands-on. Students will learn the concepts and then apply it with the environment given to them. For the machine learning, the students are going to learn the fundamentals of machine learning and how it can be applied for cybersecurity specifically. They will learn the 3 type classifications of machine learning, including the classification, deep learning, and unsupervised machine learning. You will be using Python to code, to model these models and train the models and then test the models. That is why before you take the machine learning cybersecurity class, you have to complete your Python course. So machine learning and IoT class, you can take one before the other. But before you take any of these, you have to take Python Essentials. So IoT security and hardware, specifically with the focus of hardware security, is first time being offered in this session. And we already have 15+ enrollments in the class. The course will specifically talk about, we will first define what is an IoT, Internet of Things. And then the focus is the device level security. The Internet of Things are in general resource constrained devices. So how do we define security for them? What is the threat model? And what are the security features such as supported by the hardware, the silicon level? And so these are some of the advanced topics, which our program is unique, that you don't see such courses in other certifications. So hopefully this will encourage students to learn beyond the application there. All right, so that's pretty much a quick overview of this track. Amber, do you want to take over?
Sure. Does anybody have any questions for Farina? Oh, if you're taking and passing the test for Cisco Academy Programming Essentials in Python, can this certification transfer to cover Python Essentials in the AI track?
I'm going to ask Matthew if he can answer this question.
Sure, not a problem. Not a problem. We'll get back to you, Toby, on that one.
Okay, thanks.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Farina. If you have any other questions, feel free to throw them into chat. Otherwise, I'm going to introduce John, who is one of our digital forensic instructors. He's going to talk about the digital forensics track next.
Hi there. I had a little technical glitch after our previous meeting. So it took me a few minutes here to get back online here. But yeah, no, our digital forensics track, there's been a lot of different questions about different aspects of the course on requirements needed. There are aspects of Linux and Windows all involved with it, along with mobile forensics. I guess, are there any questions that I could answer from people that are signing up for this track? And I can't see the chat here. Hold on.
Nothing in chat yet, John.
Okay, so we basically use the lab, the same lab that we were talking about earlier for our weekly labs, along with the forensics aspects of things. Dr. Tu will teach and use FTK. My understanding is that there's been some problems with it. So I know he's been experimenting with autopsy and a couple other forensic software to use for doing some of the labs. For my class, besides doing the labs, we do some online or mobile forensic images where we incorporate different skill sets in order to investigate different crimes.
Wonderful. I don't see any other questions in chat at this time, but
I know someone was asking about social media. Because I'm in law enforcement, I really don't do a lot of posting in social media. It just, I don't know, it just comes with the territory, I guess.
Yep, just a comment about looking forward to the FTK training as it's expensive.
Yeah. There's it's very difficult to find forensics training, and I know that as part of the CHFI course, we go through sample questions for the certification, if that's going to be one of the certs that you intend on taking. So you can get an idea what the cert questions are like.
And then we have oh, sorry.
Oh, there's some questions.
Yep, there's a question in chat. Is the forensics track programming heavy?
Programming, no, it's not programming heavy at all. It's more operating system between Windows, Linux, or Android, because for mobile forensics kind of centric, I guess you could say. As far as Mac, there's currently no real Mac heavy sections with it, which is fine. But we do cover iPhones as far as that goes.
Thank you. Yeah, no other questions at this time. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce Professor Rami to talk about the system admin track. If you have any other questions, feel free to throw them into chat, and well, hopefully John can take a look at them. Rami, are you ready to talk about the system admin track?
Yeah, so system administration, do I need to share the screen or you could share the screen?
If you want to go ahead and share the screen, it's enabled.
Okay, let me get this here. So CWCT, I got it, here you go. I'm sharing my screen right
Rami,
now.
while you're getting that, John, another question coming up about forensics really quick. Rami, it said, is the forensics track more focused on Leo type forensics or cyber threat forensics?
That's a good question. It's kind of both. As far as the law enforcement side of the forensics track, those are some of our hands-on where we're developing more critical thinking as far as seeing how you're doing information gathering from mobile devices. As far as the labs go, the labs are more geared towards operating systems, like learning how to gather evidence from a Windows operating system or something to that side of things. So it is cyber and it is critical thinking.
All right.
And then one more question, and I don't necessarily know that you can answer this. It might be Matthew. Why does the forensics track test to CHFI and not CEH? Matthew, are you on that you can answer that?
He might be
he's in the breakout room.
He's still in the breakout room. Okay.
So now I might be able to answer that.
Okay.
What the question was is, why do we test?
Well, why does the forensics track have CHFI in it, and why does it not have CEH?
I think the CEH is part of, I think it's programming.
It's part of the system admin track. It's the one that Rami's gonna talk about. Or Rami, maybe you can answer that. Why CEH is not a part of forensics?
Well, certified ethical hacking, you have to know the network infrastructure. You have to understand a lot of protocols. You have to understand a lot of TCP, UDP protocols. Whereas the CHFI, what John is teaching, is mostly digital forensic with focus. They still have to use operating system, Linux and Windows and Mac and so on and so forth. But the ethical hacking really is more get into the cybersecurity infrastructure of the network. You have to learn.
Yeah, it's more networking. It's more technical. I shouldn't say more technical, just a different type of technical.
It's more network toward network. Right. So if you look at the cyberseek.com.org, cyberseek.org, you will be specializing when you get to this link to this website under career pathways. When you do your job as a cybersecurity analyst, you got to do a lot of stuff in there, right? What John is doing, mostly really getting into the cybercrime analyst. Is that correct, John? Is that what you guys do?
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
So the CHFI is mostly the cybercrime analyst versus the CHFI cybercrime analyst, where the CEH hacking is more into the cybersecurity analyst and more getting into pen testing and vulnerability. That's the kind of career you're looking for. And that's actually into the advanced levels when you become a cybersecurity engineers.
Now, and I understand why he's asking that, because there are a lot of crossovers. Steganography, there's a lot of things that do cross as far as that goes. It's just that CEH is definitely more involved with different aspects of networking that we don't have to deal with CHFI.
Right. So I can start right now talking about the system administration. Did we answer that question? I think we did answer that question, right? Can move on right now, talk about the system administration track.
Yep, go ahead, Rami.
All right, so if I just turn on my camera, if it's work, oops, did not work, here you go. I think it's gonna work right now. So hello everybody, my name is Professor Rami. I'm the Cybersecurity Program Chair, Computer Science and Cybersecurity at Ivy Tech Community College, Valparaiso, Indiana. I'm one of the co-PIs on this grant. For the system administration, we have a lot of information for you. This is most of the cybersecurity attack take place. You really need to know these three foundation network looking at. We're doing system administration, focusing, of course, not just Linux, but also we look into, you have to learn also other tabs. When you get a job in system administration, cybersecurity, focus on cybersecurity, you have to know all the different type of administration, not only focus on Linux, but we believe Linux is actually the dominant operating system, open source on planet Earth. I was talking right now to admirals in the Navy, and he said the student definitely need to get somewhat training with Linux administration. So Linux administration is a critical part of this certificate here or this program. Ethical hacking, we just talked about it. Mostly you will be working as a person who's actually hired to test the company infrastructure from inside and outside, not just from outside, but also from inside. That's what you do when it comes to ethical hacking. So technically you get paid, right, John, to get actually to hack. One of our friends, myself and John, his name is Brian, and also another friend, his name is also Philip. They get paid actually, and Tony, they get paid to pen test the company to make sure that all the ports are closed and all the sockets are locked and all the resources are only available for the open services. Not every service should be open. That's ethical hacking. Cloud security, this came in because of database. We've been using database on standalone server and standalone desktop, laptop, but now we move to the cloud. When you go check your email, things on the server on the cloud. That's the future of what database, which is we move into cloud security. So the cloud system administration that focus on the database, but running on the cloud. The different classes we offer in the system administration, if you click on this link here, there's some classes we offer here under system administration. Of course, we have when you get the system administration, you can get the Linux, Red Hat certification. We also have the CEH also certification. We also have the AWS also certification. We have this option for you. In terms of the classes we offer here, we have variety of classes. You have to take the A+, right? You have to take the Linux administration. You have to learn the COM4 of command line interface. You should be able to actually interact with the operating system using commands. It's not GUI. And that's a very powerful way to actually interact with network systems. If you have taken some Cisco networking classes, you know, Cisco is also Unix-based. So Linux is really the open source of the Unix operating system. And in addition, you should also take the A+, you need to understand basic hardware software. And we also want you to know the cyber ops, which everybody have to take cyber ops. That's actually my favorite class. Cyber ops, when we learn about Professor Spiros Pemiades also talk about Cisco cyber ops. And that's mostly running a SOC center. We just recently have an Ivy Tech, Valparaiso, we have a new SOC center. We opened this just recently, and we actually acquired a cyber range, and we're running actually the SOC with the CyberBit cyber range. As for the cloud administration, we have the CWCT 230 Cloud System Administration. This is an amazing course because that takes you to learn database, but on a data center on the cloud. And finally, we also have the ethical hacking class, the certified ethical hacking. These are actually the critical classes we have. So go back again, system administration. The Linux operating system will give you the command line interface. The ethical hacking will give you the infrastructure of the network. You learn about the OSI model, the 7 layers from physical to application. The cloud system administration teach you database, running database, and interact with modifying record, adding record, deleting record on the cloud, and you will be able to learn how a lot of businesses, including many applications we use it nowadays. Every time you check your emails, you log in online, you actually interact with some type of database online. We call it the cloud system. And you learn all the different security concern, and you can learn the basic foundation for this industry. So this is it for when it comes to system administration. There's a lot of job in there. If you go to careerbuilders.com, there's also usjobs.gov. There's a lot of resources there for you. Majority of this cybersecurity job, really, I would say, I'm going to be humble here, over 75% of the job really falls under the cybersecurity and system administration. So this is it for today. Any questions?
Hi, Rami. There was one question in chat a little earlier. I don't know if Johnny answered this already, but is it recommended to use CentOS during the course since it's built off of the Red Hat Enterprise Linux?
So the distribution, if you go to distrowatch.com, the distribution we used to teach the Linux system admin, we're using actually Red Hat Academy because we actually have a partnership with them. So student, when they learn the Red Hat certification, the CSA and the CSE, the Red Hat System Administration, Red Hat System Engineers, that qualify, this course qualify for the next levels, and you can go get your Red Hat certification. Definitely when it comes into distribution, of course, we use the open source in this case, we use Red Hat. I mean, Arch Linux and CentOS, Kali Linux, there's so many distribution there. We use Arch Linux mostly for cyber ops. CentOS, we use it for VoIP, voice over internet protocols. There's all kind of distribution there. The one we use for the course is really a Red Hat distribution. You technically have to download the Red Hat distro and put it in your virtual machine. But the good news, a lot of these classes we teach, you use an NDG NetLab, so it actually minimizes resources on your side. So you don't have to worry about if you have a fast computer, enough RAM, you can run all these labs running from the cloud. You can do it in NDG NetLabs.
Awesome. And then we had a question about the cloud system course. Does it align with CompTIA Cloud Plus?
Okay, so yeah, well, it's very much aligned because you learn the foundation of the database, interacting with database online, and learn all the connector and all the socket. It does align, but I would say where we're trying to teach in this grant, in this NSA certification training, is we give you the foundation for advanced also certification. So when we actually offer the Linux system administration, now we'll actually prepare you for the Red Hat. We offer the ethical hacking. Ethical hacking has multiple layers and has multiple certification. That prepare you for the basic certified ethical hacking. When I talk to the EC Council, they say this is really a DoD 8570 compliant, and that certification will lead to advanced certification. So yes, that cloud system administration, that will actually you can go to advanced certification when it comes focus on cloud security.
I think that's all that we had questions for in chat. Oh wait, here we go. In completion of the Linux course, is it sufficient for the Red Hat exam, which is yes.
So back, so I have many students over the years that passed the RCSA and RCSE, but it will give you the foundation really. In Ivy Tech, we ask you to take maybe 2 more classes before you get ready for the Red Hat Certified System Administrator. So I would say this is a foundation course. We prepare you to actually pass the Linux administration class, Red Hat certification, but the RCSA is more involved. If you go to the objective of the course online, Red Hat Academy, there's other classes you actually take, but it'll give you the foundation. You should definitely be comfortable with command line interface. You'll be able to start services, close services. You'll be able to remote. You'll be able to do basic navigation of the operating system. You'll be comfortable really when you go to the RCSA. Also, the RCSA, we recommend student, one of my former student, his name is Danny. When he passed his RCSA, he actually have to work in the field for at least 6 months to 1 year before he gets his Red Hat Certified System Administrator. You have to have also some kind of experience a little bit before you get to that certification. That certification is time consuming. Many of the students actually study for it for at least for a couple of months before they pass that certification.
Yeah, but Rami, the Linux class, so when they pass the Linux class, they will be given the option of getting a voucher for either the RHCSA exam or CompTIA Linux Plus. They're given a choice as to which Linux exam they want to do.
I would say 100%, Chrissy, the Linux CompTIA Linux Plus certification easier to actually pass than the RCSA. The RCSA is a professional exam students study for at least 3 to 6 months to pass it. So after passing the Linux system administration and you do very well, I would say you would be very comfortable with the CompTIA Linux Plus certification. Also, give you a strong foundation for the RCSA. But you definitely need to do some training and you have to have some hands-on experience before you get to that certification. Okay, any other questions?
Yes, there are some questions. So Jessica asked if the Linux Plus was as valuable as the Red Hat. I know we've always been told to recommend the Red Hat because it's more valuable. Plus they have within Red Hat themselves, they have a lot of job opportunities if you have the Red Hat certification. So Jessica, we tend to recommend doing that, the Red Hat. although the class, you know, prepares you for both. And then, oops, hold on, I just lost the chat. And then Anthony asked if we have access to labs after you out of the course of study. You do for a little bit. It depends on the class and how long after the instructor has set the class to be available for. Typically it's 90 days. Now it is possible that, so one of the questions that always gets brought up is, when do you do your certifications? That's really going to depend on you and when you want to do them. Some students take a session off so that they can prepare for their certifications. Some do their certifications while they're doing their classes. But that is one of the things you have to keep in mind is, do you have access to the actual coursework? We have test prep material that's outside of the course that you guys will have access to. So you'll have access to that stuff. And I know Matthew mentioned that, as well as, even if you don't have access to your particular class, we might be able, like, let's say you wait 4 months, 6 months to do your certification. We might then be able to put you into NetLab, NetAcad, Red Hat, back into it later to have access to the material. So is it possible to have access to labs after you're out? Yes, but it really just depends. And how long are the vouchers valid? And all this stuff will be given to you once you guys actually pass the class. So essentially you pass the class, you're then given an email with instructions on how to enter into the test prep material. Once you are entered into the test prep material, you only get 8 weeks to finish that test prep material. So you need to decide, am I going to do it 3 months from now? Then you're going to want to put your start date for that test prep material 3 months from now. So you get 8 weeks to finish the test prep material. You have to score a certain amount on like an exam within that test prep material to actually get your voucher. Once you get your voucher, there will be an expiration date on there. That will really depend on which certification it is as to when that certification expires. So I can't really answer that, but you'll have 8 weeks from the time you enter the test prep material to finish the test prep material to get your voucher.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Chrissy. I'm going to go ahead and we have a very special guest joining us tonight to talk about cybersecurity jobs in government. And I'm going to actually let Professor Rami introduce our special guest since he, oh, here we go.
Thank you, Amber. It's with great honors actually to present today the Chief Information Officer of the Department of Defense, Principal Deputy, Ms. S.C. Miller. Today she's going to be talking to you. How you doing, S.C.?
I'm well, Rami. How are you?
Good, thank you. Ms. S.C. Miller is, as you know, you can see from the biography here, she is the Principal Deputy Department of Defense Chief Information Officer. She has many, 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 many titles and many, many awards. We're very honored to actually have her in our orientation today. She's going to talk a little bit briefly about cybersecurity jobs, security clearance, what tips and ideas can benefit you, what kind of some features and some characteristics in your cybersecurity education, any type of certification that could really enhance your chances to get a job in the cybersecurity field, specifically with the government, with focus on Department of Defense. I know we have a lot of veteran students here. We're looking at 75% of the students attending this program is veterans, and the remaining 25 student minorities, specifically females. And say it's the stage all yours. Go ahead.
Well, good evening, everyone. And I'm pretty excited to be with you guys this evening. Hey, I want to make one correction before we go. You see that little word says former? I retired about 18 months ago. So have been living the life of a recovering Fed since then, but after a wonderful 35-year career. Really excited to be with you guys, and I got to listen in on some of the dialogue a bit ago, and it's quite impressive, the program that you're in. And why do I say that? Because everything the instructors are talking to you about are things that the Department of Defense is looking for with regard to our cyber workforce. The department has well over 25,000 career civilians in this career field, and obviously many, many more with regard to the active duty military. So as you're going through the program, I highly encourage you to consider the Department of Defense as an employment option for you. Some folks look at government and think it is very unwieldy and very bureaucratic, but I'll tell you, things have changed over the last couple of years. You know, there was a time I would tell you to watch USA Jobs and all of our opportunities would be presented there. But because of the number of vacancies we have across the department, you can look almost anywhere from USA Jobs to sites like Indeed to find opportunities. Certifications and the foundational training that you're getting in this program will be very key. Complementary to that, as you're progressing in any career, obviously, are soft skills, how to do team building, how to communicate, public speaking, things of that nature. So as you're thinking through what you want to do, make sure you have a holistic look at how you need to prepare yourself. All of the basics that folks would tell you applying for a job anywhere will be very important. Obviously, the certs are your foundation. You want to make sure you're building a solid resume that captures not just your skills and your coursework, but any experience and intern opportunities that you've taken advantage of. Foot stomp there. If you have an opportunity to do internships, please don't pass it off by. Those typically lead to full-time employment. And my post-retirement activities have been committed to building that next generation of cyber talent. And every program that I have worked with so far are in the process of developing that pathway to full-time employment for that next generation of talent. If you look across all of the military services, you have everything from scholarship for service, Palace Acquire with the Air Force, CCOM, National Security Agency, and then USA Jobs, and then direct hire opportunities. Congress gave us permission probably 3 or 4 years ago that if there is a compelling need in an organization, they can direct hire an individual without going through the normal competitive process. So it really depends on you guys doing your research to identify where those opportunities are. And Rami mentioned security clearances. I can't foot stomp that enough. If you're coming into the government and you are working in any position regarded to cyber, be it policy, operations, system admins, anything that gives you elevated rights on the network, you will be required to have a security clearance. That level of clearance will depend on the organization and the requirements of the position that you're in. But that will check everything from your, any drugs, any financial, all of your background will be checked in a clearance process. Okay, Rami, what am I missing?
You're doing a great job. Thank you very much, SAE.
Sorry, there was a question. How much does security clearance cost?
Right.
Security clearances, are borne by the organization that you're working for. And it depends on the level. So anywhere from 50,000 to, if it is requires a polygraph, it'll be much more. But that is covered by the employee.
Right.
Another foot stomp, guys, you really want to be careful of your social media presence, because a lot of the department hiring agencies are looking at that as well. Once you're in, that becomes a part of the adjudication process where there is a normal look every 4 to 5 years. You know, how you're standing on any criminal, drug, financial, or social issues. I forget the phrase we're calling it, but even now as a post-retiree, it is a continuous monitoring. There is continuous monitoring that takes place on any individual that has a security clearance. So that's a really, really high level, but wanted you guys to just get a broad picture and if nothing else, to encourage you to consider the Department of Defense, be it one of our agencies or one of the services for employment as you go through this program. So Rami, if you don't mind, I'm glad to spend a few minutes answering questions.
Yes, Jackie got another question. What happened if I possess a security clearance without a sponsor?
Not quite sure I understand what that means. The security clearance, again, will come as a result of you being hired for a position and based on your need to know in that position. If you had a security clearance and you're no longer with an organization, that clearance will lapse. And once you're hired by the next organization, they will go back through the adjudication process.
Exactly. So I have another question for you, Essie, if we have some other questions here. In terms of student getting the skill clearance, the challenges the student can face, some of the students actually, they come to me and say, what does that really help me to get cybersecurity jobs with the government to do some cyber competition involving like National Cyber League, US Cyber Challenge, CCDC, any of this cyber competition that actually runs by multiple entities, including government and non-government. Does that really help the student to actually get jobs with the government if they have done any cybersecurity competition?
It is not a guarantee, but it is a benefit. For example, we're working with US Cyber Challenge, preparing for the next round of competitions there. Subsequent to that, we're having a separate conversation about how we take those folks that do well and roll them into internship opportunities and on to full-time employment. So having exposure in that process is only a benefit for you.
So they have the advantages because they have done some cyber training. It's really advantage for them, but does not guarantee employment, correct?
Yes.
Standing. Another question, what could be the benefit of the GS employee? One of the student, Jackie, also, she's asking that question, a GS.
So, let me put it this way, Jackie. The working for government, federal government, people look at that as stability. I look at it as an opportunity to serve. Just as you are serving the country, the organization, federal agency that you're working with is going to commit to investing in you. I started 2 weeks out of college as an intern. I was a computer programmer. My master's degree was paid for by the Air Force. All of my leadership training was provided across my career by DOD and whatever organization I was working for at the time. The opportunity to have, especially if you get into the offensive area, to have hands-on experience in an area that you would not get exposure to working as a contractor. So first of all, think about it as an opportunity to serve. Secondly, an opportunity to grow into whatever type of leader you decide you want to be. You can stay on the technical track. You can go into the strategic leadership track. And lastly, pay flexibility is something else that's been allowed to the federal government over the last few years. There is no way the government will compete with contractor salaries, but it has been set up to give the government a bit more of a competitive advantage. When you package that with education and certifications and all of the leadership and technical training that you need to perform the job, I think it's worth considering federal employment.
Thank you very much. One last question, because we have about 2 minutes here. One of the students asked the question, do current military clearance translate into civilian sectors?
Yes. If you have gone through the clearance process while in the military and you move to work for a contractor in a position, again, that requires a clearance, the appropriate adjudicating facility can start with where you left off with government.
Thank you very much for the answer. And his last question, Jessica, this question probably for us, the faculty for the grant, the CWC track, does it actually, this certification, does that, this corresponding certification will adequately prepare the student for the GS 7 to 9 levels 2022-10 cybersecurity infosec specialist position? I believe, Jessica, what we actually train in the cybersecurity here, NSA CWCT grant training, prepare you for a lot of basic foundation. I'm not really sure this may be a question for Ms. for Essie.
Actually, Rami, I can help you with that.
Okay, go ahead, please go ahead.
From what I know from the program, the training that you get aligns with what's in 8570. 8570 lays out all of the certifications and requirements that we have for InfoSec type positions. So I'd venture to say yes. There may be some nuances between the two, but I suspect they're fairly similar.
Great.
And if you get an opportunity to work for DISA, I'd say take it.
Excellent. There's another great website. It's called intelligencecareers.gov. That also can help you. You can look for it, intelligencecareer.gov. And that's a great website.
Rami, let me give the team a couple of places to start.
Yep.
Google Pathways, Google Palace Acquire, Google, well, not even Google, DoDCivilianCareers.com.
Okay.
And
so Google. Okay.
Lots of places to start. And Rami, if folks are interested, I can provide a broader list separately.
Yeah, if you could please send it that list, and I can actually share with Chrissy, and Chrissy can actually absolutely could provide that information to all the attendees for tonight. Thank you very much, Chrissy, for all the information. I run out of time here, and I'm getting text message said our time is up. But thank you very much. We're honored to have you here in our orientation. Does anybody have any last question for our CEO of Department of Defense?
I see one last one, Rami. Let me help. The Department of Defense has both active duty military, those are people that work for various military services, and they have career civilians. Someone like me who has never served in the military, but has worked for the Air Force, the Army, and the Office of the Secretary of Defense. So a civilian is just an individual, a federal employee that works for government who is not active duty military.
Okay, I guess we answered that question. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any more questions?
I wish you all well, and go get them. Best way I can put it, just go get them.
Thank you very much, Essie. Thank you for your time, man. Thank you.
Awesome. So that's wrapping up our orientation tonight. Thank you so much for all the time that you've put in. I know that some of you stepped away from family commitments tonight to be here, so really appreciate you taking the time to join us. I will be sending a link out with this video loaded onto YouTube by Friday. It'll include Chrissy's PowerPoint, a transcript of the chat, and any of those special links that Essie's going to pass our way. So again, thanks so much, everybody. Have a great night, and we look forward to you joining our program.